Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video of Green Square Talks Battlebots. There's only two of us here today, as one of the usual people is busy, but joining me is Civilian Arc once again. How's your day been so far, Civilian?
I've been vibing. It's just an average Sunday. How
Solid.
about you?
Doing pretty well so far. Start my new job tomorrow and looking forward to it.
Nice.
So we're back once again with the last two podcast, or with the last two bounties here. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more podcasts following but last two bounties here that we're gonna review here. We got the Witch Doctor bounty and we got the Sow bounty. Both of them had some great fights in it that will be a lot of fun to analyze, and lots of other stuff following that. So, anything else, Civilian, or should we begin?
Uh, I got this bounty fully correct.
Well done, Civilian. Just as a
Thank
warning,
you.
as usual, there will be spoilers from these fights, so if you haven't seen videos or haven't seen the bounty episodes yet, there will be spoilers, so yeah, you know what to do. First up, we got Valkyrie and Extinguisher. And so something I wanted to see was the return of the vertical spinner on Extinguisher after we saw its first appearance when it fought Gruff, but then when they got locked together, the person that separated the two of them accidentally snapped the weapon belt on Extinguisher, resulting in their vertical spinner not functioning. So I wanted to see the vertical spinner once again. And sure enough, we got it here in this fight with Valkyrie, as they went with the vertical spinner for this deadly horizontal spinner bot. So, thoughts on this one, Civilian?
Uh, this was a this was a pretty good fight. Honestly, if I'm being honest, Extinguisher did hold its own. Like, I'm sure a lot of people thought like Extinguisher was gonna die immediately, but no, it got a few good hits in. It managed to survive Valkyrie's blade for a good amount of the time. So like, this was a good fight.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. As yeah, Extinguisher definitely did very well in this fight, like up until their vertical spinner died, and then that was kind of the turning point in this battle, the part of this battle where Valkyrie really took control, managed to knock off some wheels, and destroyed Extinguisher, or once and for all, where Valkyrie won it by a knockout. And yeah, it was another devastating KO by Valkyrie and another great win by it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else for on this battle from you, Civilian?
No.
All right, let's go ahead and get on to the next battle. So we saw as Valkyrie moved one step closer to Witch Doctor after this battle. So next up we got Sub Zero and Pain Train. Sub Zero returning to the arena once again with that powerful flipper that we've been seeing in all season. Their opponent this time was Pain Train, who went 1-1 in the regular season and came back to this bounty where they took on Sub Zero. And kind of hard to summarize this fight. This one's kind of like a bunch of flips by Sub Zero, and then that was about it. As Pain Train just didn't seem to really be able to get going. Like, they didn't land many effective shots in this fight, and probably just
Yeah.
because Sub Zero's flipper design just made it harder for them to catch a hold of anything here. So that definitely gave Pain Train quite a bit of trouble in this fight. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Pain
would you?
Train couldn't really get like some type of purchase with that, with its like wedge design.
Yeah, yeah. His
But
Pain Train strategy was definitely going to be try to get to the sides of the back side of Sub Zero, and Sub Zero Logan Davis did a great job of preventing that from happening.
yeah,
So what were you trying to say, civilian there?
I had nothing.
Oh,
I was just about to mention how like this was like just a classic Sub-Zero win because like I think this was a pretty good win for Sub-Zero. Like they were cautious, but like they still went in there and guns blazing with their flipper.
yeah, absolutely correct about that one. As yeah, Sub Zero showed a lot of aggression, but also wanted to try to avoid taking as much damage as possible. Avoid taking as much damage as possible from Pain Train Spinner. And sure enough, I don't think they took too much damage in this battle. Oh, and
They did. They didn't really.
yeah, which is definitely a good thing since they were going to be taking on Valkyrie in the next round.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything else on this battle, or should we go to the next one?
I called it.
Well done. I called this one too. I did get all the first round fights right in my bracket predictions for this bounty.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Malice and Tracers. So we got to see the return of Bunny once again with her amazing bot here, and Malice came in with Big Red, just looking to land as many devastating shots as they could. Hope to either break or flip Tracer over. And Tracer was looking to land a bunch of devastating shots of their own with that vertical spinner. Sure enough, this fight just wasn't as well dominated by Tracer as what they were, well, as well dominated by Malice as what they were hoping for. As not long into this, they lost a weapon belt and lost their spinner for the rest of the fight, leaving them mostly as a push bot for the remainder of the battle in this one. But sure enough, Tracer ended up eventually breaking down and couldn't move, so Malice still came out of it with the KO. So, thoughts on this one, Civilian?
Uh, well, like even though Tracer lost this fight, I feel like this was probably Tracer's a good Tracer performance because I feel like other than like the P1 fight, I feel like and maybe Balesphere, I feel like Tracer performed at its best. But I'm glad we saw some more Malice carnage again. That's always fun to see.
Of course, yeah, it's always nice getting to see Bunny cause a lot of damage. Like, yeah, Malice is definitely a great bot. I really hope we get to see it back once again next season. I feel like we
Uh,
will, but
they probably would.
yeah, they've been showing lots of design preparations as as if they're planning on returning.
Yeah, which will be fun.
Yeah, very much fun. All right. Anything else on this battle, or should we get to huge and slapbox?
I also wanted to mention I'm honestly surprised how well of a push bot Malice is
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. That's one
Like,
of the amazing things about Malice. How yeah, it's a horizontal spinner, and yet it could push so well. Because they got a powerful drive system in there. You wonder why Malice is one of the most expensive bots here in this competition. Is that thing took more than $90,000 to build, which is crazy for a battle bot and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very cool that Malice was able to get their bot to work that well, even though it took that high of a price.
yeah. That was really cool.
All right. Next up, we got Huge and Slapbox. And gotta say, in this one, Slapbox really took it to Huge in this fight. Here,
Yeah,
as Slapbox came in with an extension to their lifter, hoping to be able to still get underneath Huge, lift them up in the air. they also have attachments attached to like the very front of their lifter, which they were able to use to either jam up Huge's wheels or yeah, you get the idea with that term. And Bryce did it brilliantly in this one. Another amazing strategy from him.
Yeah,
So,
like I feel like a lot of bots that like don't have like spinning weapons, like control bots. Like we've seen something similar like this from like Jasper and from 2019 and Kraken this year. I feel like they're all very interesting, and like I feel like if done correctly, they could be really effective. And like as shown from this, it did do a lot to Huge.
oh yeah, I completely agree with that. Of course, though, it wasn't enough, though, as before we started seeing some amazing control from Slapbox, Huge got one shot to the wheel that knocked off a tire and left Slapbox with limited mobility. But even with that limited mobility, Slapbox still controlled a vast majority of this battle here and managed to just absolutely take it to Huge. Like they were pretty well protected from the from or they proved to be pretty well protected from Huge's vertical spinner, as Huge landed a ton of shots, and Slapbox just kept moving, at least up until like the last 20 seconds of the battle, where Slapbox ended up stopped moving eventually, which is too bad because they were doing that well. And then Huge came in with a last second shot that knocked off another wheel right as the clock hit zero. So
Yeah.
one other thing that might be nice to mention are those wheels on Huge. You'd probably notice that those are a little different from earlier. As, yeah, those are, I believe, a completely different material, if I remember right, from when I last saw this fight. And Jonathan Schultz was kind of like testing it out, just seeing how well it does in fights like these. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't remember the exact footage, the exact thing, but I'm gonna quick look it up. You got any other thoughts on this battle, civilian? While I'm doing that,
Uh, no, I mean it was a pretty back and forth battle. Slapbox getting some good control moments, Huge getting some good hits.
what do you think of the judge's decision? Since this battle did go the full 3 minutes.
It was the right call. Damage, I think it should be a clean sweep for Huge. Control, I'd say I, I I was leaning for a clean sweep towards Slapbox, but after Huge got like 3 out of the 4 tires, which left Slapbox almost completely immobile. I'm gonna say Slapbox 2-1 control instead of a clean sweep. Same thing with aggression. I feel like I would have scored it in Slapbox's favor before that last few hits Huge gave Slapbox. So aggression, I'd say 2-1 Huge.
Yeah, really, my only difference would be aggression. I would probably just go clean sweep for Slapbox, as they like even with what happened at the end, like they were just they just completely they were far more aggressive than Huge in that one. I'd probably give them a clean sweep in that one, but then everything else, like you're spot on with what I had as yeah damage. I'd give it all to Huge because they did all the damage in that one, and then control. Oh, like I think the few moments Huge had in that battle was enough to give them a point.
Huge moments.
Yep, huge moment. But yeah, it was definitely a great win by Huge, even a great loss by Slapbox. As kind of like Tombstone, they absolutely took it to their opponent, even though they were the underdog in a fight like this. And
Yeah.
yeah, it
I,
was nice to
I, I,
see it perform really well.
I hope if Slapbox returns that they give him a bit like a few like less difficult opponents. Like I get like they gave it huge because like there was clearly seeding stuff for like the bounty hunters, even though it's not implied. But like I don't feel like they should have given Slapbox Tombstone to fight.
Oh, definitely not. As yeah, especially since Bryce isn't exactly the most experienced in there. Like yeah, even he commented like in his thing like why did he get Tombstone? Like Tombstone is his first BattleBots opponent, and yeah, Pori always mentioned that yeah that they kind of used that as a way to make sure Tombstone would not go winless this season. But
Well, like I have a theory, and I might be wrong about this. There's a good chance I'm wrong about this, but I think the Scorpios Tombstone fight actually came before Tombstone versus um Slapbox. And but then like the producers and like the selection committee were like, "Oh God, Tombstone's at 0 and 2." So like they needed to give they need to give Tombstone like a win so they could get put in the postseason.
I wouldn't
So they
know if
gave
you're right, but if you are right, that would make sense as for a good reason why they as for why they gave Tombstone Slapbox.
yeah.
Yeah, the yeah your knowledge would work if that is the case. So yeah, and also info I did find on the wheels huge had is the material they used was much different than the polyethylene we would normally see, but it's kind of like a stronger and more rigid material that they were using, so would be able to provide like a little better like they're a little more protective of against against like certain opponents too, and a little more sturdier and stuff. So
I believe they're less bendy as well.
yeah, that would sound reasonably accurate. Well, anything else on this battle?
No.
Next up, we got Valkyrie and Sub Zero. A rematch once again from this season. So, and Civilian, you got. I know you got stuff you're dying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Here you can go first, Green, because I'm gonna go crazy with this fight.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna go crazy. You got good reason to go crazy too. So yeah, what I'm just gonna say is that like Logan Davis did a terrific job driving in this matchup. Like rather than coming in with a back plate, they just went all in with the flipper, and they managed to get Valkyrie in the corner very quickly in the fight, and managed to ram them up against the rails a few times, use them against themselves quite a few times, and somewhere in there, Valkyrie ended up losing drive on one side, and eventually Sub Zero was able to simply back off while Valkyrie was driving in circles, and Valkyrie got kited out, and Sub Zero got the victory by knockout. So yeah, thoughts, Civilian? Well, or your celebration?
Y'all doubted Sub-Zero. Y'all thought, oh, this was gonna be the same win Valkyrie got back in the postseason, but nah. Sub-Zero came in and tanked all those shots and freaking won, and I called it. I am 2-0 in the Valkyrie Sub-Zero predictions. That is sick.
Well put.
Also,
Yeah,
also, I
sadly
called
this will
it.
be my first mistake in the bracket, and yeah, yeah, well done to Civilian for predicting this one accurately and everything. And as I don't think a lot of people saw what happened in this fight coming. So,
I don't think anyone did. Like,
yeah,
I,
as I know there
I,
were, yeah, like it didn't completely screw me exactly because I didn't choose I had Valkyrie as the runner up in this one, but,
you did?
or, yeah, I chose Malice to win it.
Oh, you did? Interesting.
Yeah,
You know what?
I had Malice advancing to fight Witch Doctor and winning it.
You know, you know what? If I'm being honest, like now that I think about it, like Malice could pull it off.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bunny could very easily pull it off in a fight with Witch Doctor. That would be an entertaining battle.
Yeah.
So yeah, any thoughts on the actual battle?
It was a good fight. Like there were tons of good hits from both opponents. Sub-Zero got a few good flips on Valkyrie and itself when it tried to flip the wall and flipped upside down. And the Valkyrie did some damage too. So like it was good.
Yeah, without a doubt. So yeah, Sub Zero ended up pulling off and getting its revenge, pulling off a major victory, and advance to the bounty final where they take on the winner of Huge and Malice, which was another entertaining battle that we will be talking about coming up. So, anything else on this battle?
I called it.
Yup, you definitely did call it. Sadly, I did not call it, but yeah, at least my bracket wasn't like uh I forget. I'm I'm not looking for the I can't find the term I was looking for, but eh,
What were you thinking of? Like,
at least I didn't have Valkyrie winning the whole thing is where I was going with my predicted bracket.
oh, yeah, that's fair.
I will show off my Valkyrie wheel though. I showed off way too much, but who cares? It's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool wheel.
Yep.
It's
Very
wheelie
cool wheel
cool.
from their fight with Lockjaw back in 2018 and stuff. So, yeah. And in a way, I got a part of Lockjaw history too, since
You got
Lockjaw is
part
the
of
one that dealt that damage.
you got one of Donald's fights in your hands.
Yeah. Actually, I have two of Donald's fights in my hand because my jackpot parts. Well, the big gear was from the Lockjaw fight and the Rotator fight. So yeah. All right, I'm thinking next fight where we got Huge and Malice. So Malice definitely had a few concerns for Huge's spinner in this one, because what they knew was if Huge spun their spinner forward, Huge could potentially go weapon on weapon and then eventually hop into the air and manage to hit Malice's top for this one. So, what Malice ended up doing for this fight was rather than going with Big Red, they came in with Purple Pain for this fight. So that way they could stack up some extra top armor for that spinner on Huge. And sure
Yeah,
enough, we saw a great fight out of this one as we saw many devastating shots from these two bots, like in the first minute of this fight. Quite a bit of damage done by Malice, including they messed up the legs on the back of Huge, which
yeah.
made it a little
Huge was
harder for them to move. But then eventually, a weapon on weapon collision knocked off their weapon belt, and they lost Purple Pain for the rest of the fight. Surely
yeah.
enough, they were able to completely outpush Huge, including get them into the screws a few times, just because Huge was facing mobility problems thanks to the damage Malice did to those back legs and stuff. Like they were having a lot of trouble getting traction and stuff. So
Yeah, like one was taken off and the other was like very bent.
yes, yeah, exactly what you said. So thoughts on this bell other than that?
And, solid job to the Malice driver. I don't know his name, but like
David,
yeah, David. Is it like three of them, David?
one of the three Davids on there.
I know it's not David Small, but that's all I can say. But yeah, David, good job, good driving. Congrats. But like, yeah, that was Malice's. Even though Malice lost its weapon there, I think that was, if I'm being honest, I think that was Malice's best win ever. Like this season.
My favorite will always be the axe backwards one, but that was definitely one of their best wins of the season, without a doubt. Oh,
Yeah,
so yeah, the fact that even without a spinner, they were able to just completely outpush Huge, like avoid that spinner for a lot of the fight, and showed a lot of great aggression and control in this one. So
yeah.
yeah, what do you think of the judge's decision?
Um, okay, that it was pretty correct. Damage I'd give while Huge was had more of its weapon shots in, like it's clear that Malice did more noticeable damage besides like losing its weapon. So like I'd say 3 to 2 damage Huge just because it was using its weapon more, but like you could make a case for why Malice could win damage too. Like control, all 3 points should definitely go to Malice. Aggression, I'd honestly say that's a clean sweep for Malice also, because it was very aggressive in that fight.
Yeah. I'm completely with you on that. Pretty much I would score it the exact same as yeah, in terms of damage, 3 to 2, like what Civilian said, is while yeah, it's both bots did a ton of damage in this one, and like Malice busted up either the wheels or the back legs on Huge, and Huge managed to damage the weapon of Malice, but did have an active weapon for the full 3 minutes as they managed to disable Malice's. So I would give them an edge because of that. Specifically, when Malice's weapon broke, uh, Huge just simply lost like all aggression and all control. Like they couldn't move as well as they could. Jonathan Schultz seemed to have a lot of trouble in the in when with driving Huge during around that point, and Dave was able to simply just completely outdrive Jonathan Schultz. Like yeah, Malice told me that they had a 5-star driver coming this season, and he has really proven himself this season. And
Oh yeah,
so yeah, anything else on this battle?
no, it was a great fight. It was definitely one of Malice's best performances.
Yeah, without a doubt, another epic performance from Malice, another entertaining fight from Huge here. Malice advanced with the judge's decision victory after they managed to win this one, where they'll take on Sub Zero, and the winner of that will take on Witch Doctor. And we know civilians got more celebrating coming for this battle. And
Yeah.
And yeah, so Malice and Sub Zero, which is pretty much the battle between the bot I was predicting would win it all and the bot Civilian predicted would win it all.
I
And
didn't predict Sub-Zero to win it all. I just predicted it to become the bounty hunter.
or that's what I was meaning by win it all primarily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, basically what I'm meaning is I predicted Malice to be the bounty hunter, Civilian picked Sub Zero to be the bounty hunter. And sure enough, this fight started off in Malice's favor as they managed to destroy the flipper of Sub Zero, at least most of it, and managed to destroy both wheels on one side. Sadly, though, even though they did dominate that portion of the fight, eventually they got stuck on their backside. Once again,
Yeah.
like in the Mad Catter fight, where they were stuck and was counted out eventually. So
Yeah.
yeah, which is too bad, but whatever. So thoughts on this battle, Civilian, or your celebration? Since you'll probably got something.
Well, like two things. One, it's kind of sad to see Malice go out like that, especially since it was really good in this bounty bracket. It did well against Tracer, did well against Huge. So it was sad to see Malice go like that. But secondly, I called it.
Well done. Well done.
But yeah, like it was a good performance from Malice. It did a lot of good shots. But yeah, Sub-Zero's like even though it's not a great bot, like it's not one of the greatest bots, it's still kind of like it's still kind of tanky, even though that like loses a lot.
Oh yeah. Sub Zero's kind of like always been a tank of a bot here in this competition. They've always been very well armored, even though they've lost quite a few fights and
Like
stuff.
if they ever like got like wheel coverage or like wheel protection, then like they'd be they could probably tank a lot of shots.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and another positive thing is the fact that yeah, Malice was a terrific sport. Like the team was a great sport about this whole thing. Like they accepted the defeat, congratulated Sub Zero and everything, and for winning that fight. And yeah, it's another great thing about the BattleBots community. Like even if something like that happens, like they're all great sports about it, and it's always a good thing to hear about people involved with this sport and stuff. So
Yeah, it's good that like everyone's like acceptance of like that stuff,
yeah,
even when it's kind of annoying
yeah,
when that happens.
oh yeah.
Like the
Even though that happened, everybody was happy about it.
yeah.
So yeah, the question I've got next is we mentioned this in the last podcast, the controversy of the Slammo and Hijinks fight. Could that controversy potentially have been applied here for this fight, since Sub Zero was technically crab walking in this battle before Malice got flipped onto their side or stuck on their backside?
Well, like here's the thing, like Sub-Zero, from what I saw, I might have to rewatch the fight, but it still had like full movement. Yeah, it was crab walking, but it was doing a good amount of crab walking to not get counted out.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you keep going, civilian. Sorry.
like I also do feel like I think it should be like a double KO more like maybe because like I don't think that Sub-Zero shouldn't have gotten counted out because it did in fairness it did lose this fight, so like well it like basically lost this fight is what I'm trying to say, but like Malice was completely immobilized. It should definitely have gotten counted out, but like you could make a case for why Sub-Zero should have gotten counted out.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. Kind of like my opinion is like, yeah, 'cause one of the many confusions involved with this season is like crab walking is supposedly like not allowed, not counted as movement, but but they always say like if you're able to control your movement, that counts as movement. We kind of saw a little bit of each out of both of these because Sub Zero was crab walking, but probably out of all the bots that have been most of the bots that we've seen crab walk and not get counted out, I think that was probably one of the most controlled of the bunch. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could barely tell that Sub Zero lost two wheels. Like they were driving like they had three, potentially even all four and stuff. So yeah, I'm personally happy, even though Malice did get counted out and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna make any arguments or complain or anything about it. So yeah, anything else
Yeah.
on this fight, or should we get to Witch Doctor and Sub Zero?
Yeah, we can get to Witch Doctor and Sub-Zero.
All right, here we go. Witch Doctor and Sub Zero. So yeah, this fight ended pretty badly for Sub Zero here. So started off with a little head-on action, but then Witch Doctor eventually got a hit that flipped Sub Zero over, and it was pretty much all over from there. Because right when Sub Zero would right themselves, Witch Doctor would come in with that vertical spinner, hit them again, eventually got them in the corner, and landed a nasty shot that not only took off a wheel and stuff, but took out Spitfire too, which was a
Yeah,
pretty epic shot. Pretty epic ricochet right there.
yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
that was a
thoughts on this battle, civilian?
like if I'm being honest, that was probably like Witch Doctor's best win, like at least for 2020 season, because I was just Witch Doctor flat out like murdering an opponent, like what we saw in its 2019 season, or even moments in its 2015 or 2016 season.
A longer repeat of Witch Doctor and Rotator.
Yeah, but like rip to Sub Zero. Like honestly, I think the Sub Zero team should be are kind of happy they went out like that.
Oh yeah,
Like
definitely. It's always
that's
a
like
good.
a
You
you
go.
go ahead.
You go, civilian.
Like that's like a great fight to end your like season on for the year.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was saying. So yeah, as you always want to go out with a bang. Sub Zero went out with a bang in that one, including took home a lot of the cash prize is for this one, which is always quite nice. And stuff. Extra
Yeah.
cheddar, which I bet they'll probably go towards building the new Sub Zero, assuming they're returning once again, which I feel like they
But
would.
they'd probably return, especially since this was like definitely their best performance for like this was like 2020 was best definitely their best season yet.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, anything else on this fight?
I called it.
Well done to you. Anything else? Any other bragging you want to say about this bounty before we get to the Sao bounty?
Well, you know, j- if I'm being honest, I'm honestly shocked that I got it fully right. If I'm being perfectly honest,
That was
like
me with the Ice Wave bounty, where I was shocked I got Chomp and Bale's spear right in that one. No, that was actually the
pretty sure
Bronco
that was the
bounty.
Bronco
Yeah, it's
bounty.
a Bronco bounty. I was shocked. Jeez, I
Wow, you don't even
yeah.
remember when they fought Green? Wow.
Whatever. I made only one mistake in the next bounty, which I can kind of brag about that.
Wait, you mean do you mean the Sow bounty?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you meant the Tombstone bounty, and I'm like,
no, the Sao
no.
bounty. The Tombstone bounty was full of mistakes for me.
Tombstone bounty, we both got, we both messed up a lot in
Yep,
there.
we messed up and we're proud. But I got points
Yeah.
in the prediction event for the bounties because I did have Tombstone winning against the bounty hunter. Or so yeah,
Hmm.
I still got credit for that. All right, I'm just gonna say on to the next bounty where we see the return of quite a few great bots in this one. Kraken, Copperhead, and Gigabyte are all bots. Perfect Phoenix 2 all made the top 32 during Battlebots 2020. We get to see the return of Grabot, Kronos, and Big Dill as well as the fan favorite Rusty. Get ready to see lots of Big Dill talk from mostly civilian.
Corey, where are you? I
Yeah,
need you
Pori,
for
where
big
are
deal.
you? Why couldn't you
He he
come
he
here?
he leaves us, and now have to talk about big deal on my own.
Yeah. Uh,
I'm gonna tell him what he did to me next podcast he joins.
yep. But let's go ahead and get on to the first matchup where we got the fight that where we got probably the most shocking fight of all six bounties. Is if I'm being honest here. We got Kraken
Yeah.
and Rusty, and yeah,
I like
from the start of this one, pretty much my big concern for Kraken in this one was that they were not exactly going to have an easy time getting a hold of Rusty, as Kraken can't very easily get a bite on Rusty from the side to the backside because of Rusty's tall shape. But it is possible, and Kraken eventually did succeed at that. What do you,
yeah.
and Kraken
Uh
eventually did get a bite on the sides and managed to torch them, as you could see there. But then the big stuff happened in the last minute of the fight. Rusty went head on with Kraken, managed to strike the top of Kraken, and believe it or not, managed to tear apart some of the frame in the top and left their airbag loose in this one. Rusty managed to do quite a bit of damage there. And
yeah.
yeah, a lot of credit to Rusty for that. This fight ended up going the full 3 minutes, where Rusty ended up taking it home with the judge's decision, where they moved on to the next round. So
Yeah.
yeah, thoughts from you, Civilian, on this one?
Uh yeah, this was a great performance from Rusty. Like and I laughed a ton in this fight. Just seeing Kraken's air pillow, I like to call it, just hanging out from the side was really fun. All that being caused from Rusty of all bots.
Yeah,
like you expect Kraken to lose all those pieces to Witch Doctor, not Rusty.
yeah. Yeah, this was a very entertaining fight. Great performance from Rusty here. So, what do you think of the judge's decision, Civilian?
Okay, I know a lot of people disagree with this decision. I actually think this was a correct, but like I do see why people think Kraken should have won. So damage, I'd say 4-1 Rusty, just because yeah, all that was cosmetic, but Kraken didn't do really do any damage to Rusty like whatsoever. Control, I'd say 2-1. 2-1 Kraken. I do feel it had some control moments, but I do feel Rusty did have a few moments there also. And aggression, I'd say 2-1 Kraken because it was very aggressive, but that's still a 6-5 decision for Rusty.
Yeah. In my opinion, I did disagree with the decision of this one, but I'm not one bit mad about this. I do think more people actually congratulated Rusty over disagreed with this decision and stuff, which I completely support anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have
Um,
disagreed with the decision, but I'm not mad one bit about this fight. I'm not going to complain about the call one bit. You could easily make arguments from how I would have scored this battle. So yeah, I scored the fight. Damage, I went 3-2 for Rusty in this one. Rusty did do a lot of damage at the end with that stick and stuff, but the hold that Kraken got, I think they did do some damage with the flamethrower, melting a few parts and stuff. That's one good thing about Kraken being a biter right there, and then having the flamethrower attachment, as they've done quite a bit of damage to many parts on quite a few bots. So, which is why I'm going to give Kraken some credit for that. So control and aggression, and I have them both as 2-1 in favor of 2-1 in favor of Kraken in this one. As control, I felt like Rusty's last moment in there, the last 30 seconds to a minute, that was all Rusty. But from the stuff prior to that, it was pretty much all Kraken and stuff. That's kind of the same thing with aggression and two. Rusty was definitely having a difficult time for the first part of it, but then managed to have that great moment in the end. But yeah,
yeah.
I did score it 6-5 for Kraken, but once again, you could easily make an argument somewhere. Probably the damage area is probably what most people would argue about. But but yeah, you could easily make an argument, and I will completely support it.
Yeah.
Anything else on this battle, or should we get on to the next one?
Let's get it on to the next fight.
Next up, we got Civilian Arc's predicted champion Copperhead,
Nope.
who is
Not
taking
my
on
predicted champion.
Cronus.
Never has been, never will be.
You'll have to check out
Hashtag
the secret
Tantrum Gang.
stash, the
Tantrum
Green
Gang.
Square secret stash, within a few weeks or something like that. Because I'm gonna make a video proving that Civilian Arc originally picked Copperhead for this one.
Come on, come on, man.
No, you come on.
Listen, I predicted Tantrum.
I predicted Black Dragon as my first champ. As my first champ, at least my first
I
champ made it as far as your second pick champ.
That was my first pick, champ.
Second,
Come on, man.
you know I'm right.
Yeah, I know you're right. That Tantrum's going all the way. Yeah, I agree with you.
No, Black Dragon's gonna get there. No, Minotaur and Black Dragon are gonna get there before Tantrum.
No, Tantrum and Black Dragon. You know what? No, Tantrum and Copperhead.
Yeah, Copperhead would be a Copperhead could definitely make a run with how well they did this season. But
Yeah.
back to this fight. So Kronos event got their spinner up to speed, as did Copperhead. We saw one major weapon on weapon shot, and Kronos' spinner didn't spin up as quickly from there. Like it wasn't dead yet, as we saw not long after that. It was spinning up to speed, but at a much slower pace. Then we saw another major shot, but then that was the end of Kronos right there, as Copperhead ended up getting the quick knockout after getting a few big hits with that drum spinner. Not sure if you noticed this, Civilian, or if you saw anything. Yeah, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but Copperhead actually had a different driver for this fight, as for what I saw.
Did it?
Yeah, yeah, as
I
it
think
seemed
it
like
did.
Robert Cowan was running the weapon as usual, but then it looked like one of the other teammates was driving this battle.
It might have been that way. I don't know. I might have to rewatch that to see.
Here, I'm gonna quick pulse, quick pull the fight up on my phone. Here, what are your thoughts on this fight? Then, while I'm doing that.
Uh, well, I have two thought processes on this fight. A, it's nice to see Copperhead get its revenge in. But I feel like it's also sad because like the Kronos Copperhead fight in 2019 was like probably the biggest vertical versus horizontal of the season.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
so like yeah.
Trying to find this one moment.
But also like that was a great move
All
from
right, here.
Copperhead.
Yeah, somebody else was driving that battle. I don't know how well you could see my phone, see the picture of that video.
Yeah, I can't see it that well.
Yeah, it's one of the other. Yeah, if you saw the fight, saw them push the button that they were ready, showing that they were ready. You'd notice right away that somebody else was driving that right next to Robert Cowan, who had the weapon controls in his hand.
Yeah.
But either way, great fight by Copperhead here. Way to get some revenge on Kronos for the 2019 season. Anything else on this fight?
No.
Onto a fight that was another quick KO, and I might need to walk back and go grab the you know what civilian.
Oh God.
Yep, you know it. Here, you want to
Oh
maybe
no.
summarize this fight for the awesome
Yeah,
viewers?
so basically what happened was that, okay, guys, this is just between you and me, but Green is not a good podcast host. I think you should subscribe to Civilian Arc. And Green, I know you're gonna replay the footage for this. But yeah, Gigabyte tore off the wedge of Grabot, and then that was pretty much it. Like it was just one solid shot from Gigabyte, and then that was it for Grabot. Also, viewers, please don't tell Green what I said, because there's a chance Green did not hear what I said.
Alright. So, what do you think I grabbed, Civilian Arc?
The Valkyrie wheel,
What other thing do you think I grabbed?
the mammoth parts,
And what else?
the fidget spinner.
Yep, this amazing fidget spinner. I'm going to be flexing that all of this part of the podcast, Civilian. But yeah, I'm sure Civilian Art gave a excellent summary with this one. Is this one's simply a devastating shot. Uh, what? I don't even want to ask what I just heard on your end, Civilian. But
What?
But yeah, we saw one big hit that ripped off the wedge on Grabot, and it was about over from there. Seemed like Grabot really seemed to struggle just to get going in this one. Is they seem to be having drive issues right out of the gate that was holding them back in this fight. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was too bad to see them go down in defeat once again. But yeah, it was still a great fight from both bots here, even though it ended very quickly. And was
Oh
nice to
yeah.
see Matt Max him back once again.
Stinger come back.
Yeah, Stinger come back.
There should be a good GoFundMe where we make Stinger come back.
Yeah, why haven't you started it, Civilian?
Because I'm broke.
I'm broke too.
So neither of us. Let's ask Pori. I'm sure he's got some cash on him.
Yeah, let's make Pori do it. Because why not? Make Poria do it for us. So now, on to the next fight. Which, say it, Civilian, just say it.
Big deal.
Yep, that bot is fighting Perfect Phoenix in this next fight. The other thing that's gonna make this part of the podcast fun, me spinning this fidget spinner of Gigabyte that they were so awesome to send me because Gigabyte is one of the many amazing teams in Battlebots, and these two teams are two of those other amazing teams. And yeah, wait until this thing stops spinning. But yeah,
Big deal.
so Perfect Phoenix came in with a shorter bar for this battle. I think it was most, even though it removed their reach for this fight, like made it a lot harder for them to connect a shot on Big Dill. The good news is that it improved their stability because I knew that Big Dill was going to try and go for a flip on Perfect Phoenix, and that wasn't the most easy task for Big Dill. Big Dill did get a few lifts at first, but then really could not get Perfect Phoenix over until later in the battle. So, thoughts on this battle,
Yeah.
Civilian?
uh, Tori, why'd you ditch us? First of all, secondly,
Yeah, Pori, why did
uh,
you ditch us?
this was a this was kind of shocking. I didn't think Big Deal would win this, but it managed to pull
I
it off
did.
against Perfect Phoenix. Yeah, you did. Good job.
Yeah, I could say I called it on this one.
Uh, yeah, you got the big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yes,
yeah, but
civilian, no
like,
need to make a big deal about Pori abandoning us.
hey, he put us in quite a pickle here. All right.
Yeah, he kind of did. We're gonna have to relish that he's not here.
I guess. Yeah. He's always bragging about his sub count and stuff.
Yeah, when he's not as cool as us.
Yeah.
But he's still really cool, like us.
Yeah, but just not as.
But yeah, so pretty much I kind of gave the summary of this battle as. But then what I didn't actually mention was kind of at first we saw Spicy Meatball get some action in, as we saw it manage to slip under Perfect Phoenix literally at the perfect spot, right in the middle of that bot, right where the wheels are not, and Spicy Meatball managed to high center Perfect Phoenix and gave Big Dill an opportunity to use the lifter. Sadly, that was one of the lifts where Big Dill was unable to flip over Perfect Phoenix in that one, but
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually they did, and Perfect Phoenix got counted out, and Big Dill was awarded the knockout where they advanced to the next round. Just yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I feel like potentially the shorter bar might have made Perfect Phoenix a little more vulnerable. Like I do see why they were doing that as I explained that part, but it made
Yeah.
it so difficult for Perfect Phoenix to land a shot. Like they got a nice hit on the forks, and I think they got another hit somewhere else too, but that was it overall. Like other than that, Perfect
Yeah.
Phoenix did very little and stuff. As Perfect
I
Phoenix
think
was
they were.
clearly the lower to the ground bot between the two of them, and they get and Big Dill gave Perfect Phoenix quite a bit of trouble using that advantage.
Yeah, I think they banked on Perfect Phoenix being lower to the ground, so that's why they went. So they were fine with going with the shorter weapon because, like, I feel like realistically they'd go with what they usually go with, but they were probably still suffering damage from endgame.
Oh yeah, that's definitely possible.
Because,
Knowing
like,
yeah the
I
stuff
I
that Endgame caused.
I remember like Chris or Kenny mentioning that Perfect Phoenix was suffering from a previous fight. So,
I think I remember that as well. So yeah, you're probably right.
but yeah, big deal. Definitely put Perfect Phoenix in quite a pickle. It wasn't gherkin around.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Anything
and
else on this battle?
big deal.
Big deal.
Let's go.
Any other jokes that would go in the cliche jar?
Big deal's other name.
What's Big Dill's other name?
Uh,
Wow. Alright, well, next fight it is where we got Rusty and Copperhead. And yeah, so in this fight, Copperhead had same sort of strategy: get the drum snare up to speed, and then come in and attack their opponent. Once again, they had a different driver for this battle. This time, it was a different person, a different teammate, including it was a female who was driving it. I don't wouldn't know her name off the top of my head.
I think it's Robert's wife. Oh, wait.
That might be
Uh,
it, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Robert
because
Cowan was still running the weapon, and somebody else was driving it, as of my
I,
knowledge.
because I know Robert Cowan did bring his wife along for the Copperhead team this year.
Yeah, it's possible that it was her that was driving the bot, but yeah, Zach handed off the controls to somebody else for this fight, and what ended up happening in this battle, we saw a few nice hits from Copperhead, but then we saw that moment right in the image right there, where you see Rusty's needle in the back of Copperhead's drum spinner. Sadly, that did not disable the weapon, like what I'm sure Rusty and many all of Rusty's fans were hoping for.
Like
But
literally everyone was hoping for.
yeah, so that would have been one of the best ways to break Copperhead's weapon.
That would have been like Light Force and Chomp just in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, and eventually, then following that, Copperhead managed to get their weapon back up to speed, managed to land a few more nice hits in there with that drum spinner, or including managed to get Rusty on their side. I'm not sure if people were cheering more for the fact that Rusty got their weapon inside Copperhead's drum, or whether they wanted Rusty to self-right. As Rusty was trying to self-right, but then part of the arms were bent, so they were having trouble self-righting in that one. But then eventually they managed to do it. But then sadly they weren't moving when they managed to right themselves. So the countdown that was going on while they were trying to self-right continued, and they were counted out, and Copperhead was awarded the KO.
Yeah,
Yeah, Civilian's first champion moves on to the bounty
not
final.
not my first champ. Never has been, never will be.
Uh, it was much more funnier when we find out you microwave Pop Tarts yesterday.
I don't microwave Pop Tarts. And you have no proof that I microwave Pop Tarts.
My proof being the last podcast.
I never said anything about microwaving Pop Tarts in the last podcast. You'd said something about it, but I didn't.
I didn't say anything about that. All I said is I said that I'm
Okay,
not a Pop Tarts person.
okay.
But
What
yeah,
next?
thoughts
You're
on
gonna
this
say
battle?
it was a fun fight to see. It was nice to see uh Rusty get a nice shot on Copperhead, and Copperhead just destroying everyone's hopes and dreams.
Well said.
Yeah.
While my fidget spinner does its great job spinning in the background here.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, once again, was an excellent fight. So, anything else from you on this fight, Civilian?
Nah.
All right, on to the next fight. Great win by Copperhead. Great fight put up by Rusty. So, next up, we got Big Dill and Gigabyte. Just say it, Civilian, or whatever.
Big
While I spin
deal.
it with this fidget, while I spin this fidget spinner. Cause come on,
Big.
you gotta spin this thing, and when Gigabyte's up here, so
What about if Gigabyte doesn't compete next season? What are you gonna do then?
I'll still spin it anyway.
But Gigabyte won't be competing then.
But Gigabyte will be competing in Heart. In Heart, Gigabyte will be there competing where they are winning the giant nut, probably.
In retired Battlebots heaven.
Wow. Maybe Matt Maxim will take over Gigabyte.
That'd be sick.
Eh.
John, you should retire and
No!
let Matt
John
let
shouldn't
Matt.
retire. John Wladnick does a great job of driving Gigabyte
I'm
and
not saying
stuff.
I'm not saying he doesn't do a great
Like,
job, but
I'm saying
I
like he
want
should
Matt.
still compete. I'm saying he should still be there and not retire.
I want Stinger to come back. S- Please, Stinger.
Stinger, come back.
Please.
But in this fight, so Big Dill had a different attachment for this fight since they were up against a big bad horizontal spinner and Gigabyte. And pretty much what their objective was charge into Gigabyte, box rush them, try to break the spinner. That did not happen, as Gigabyte was able to relatively easily get away from Big Dill long enough to get the full body spinner up to full speed and managed to land a few nice hits from there. And
Uh,
eventually, Big Dill started having drive problems, basically meaning that the Gigabyte's shots were maybe too much for Big Dill, and Big Dill ended up getting counted out eventually. And Matt Maxim went crazy with his celebration after that one, which is
yeah,
always quite fun to see.
yeah. You know what? What else would be crazy
What?
if Stinger came back?
Yeah, I'm sure you would relish the moment that Stinger came back.
Oh yeah, I would. I would.
Amazing fidget spinner, right?
No, it's a fidget spinner.
And fidget spinners in in the shape of Megabyte are amazing.
I might find if they ever make a fidget spinner son of Whyachi, I'd get
They
it.
have
But
it's on their
they
store.
have.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's quite
Oh,
expensive for me. It's too expensive for me, which is why I haven't gotten one.
how much is it?
$30, I think,
$30?
something like that. It
What
might
the
be
hell?
20, but I know it's quite a bit.
Why is there $20 for a fidget spinner?
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember the exact price, but I know it's quite a bit on their store. But I got this thing, so I'm happy. All right, so yeah, back to this bite. Probably, so yeah, quite a few devastating shots from that full body spinner, and yeah, that was about the end of it. Any other thoughts on this battle from you, civilian?
Rest in peace, Big Deal. You will be missed.
Any other things you would want to say involving Big Dill?
Uh, yes, but I don't want this your channel to get demonetized, so I won't say them.
Fair enough. All right, on to the next fight where we get a rematch from the 2020 season. And I can say I am 2-0 with these two bots face off, as I predicted accurately that Copperhead is going to win their first meeting. I predicted that Gigabyte would win this meeting, and sure enough it happened.
Good
I would put
job.
this fight as my second favorite bounty hunters fight, and I could very easily have as my first too. Like this was
What's your
another
favorite?
what
What's your
Rotator and
favorite?
Captain Shredderator.
Ah, yeah, that was a good one. This is probably my favorite though.
Like, yeah, this was an amazing fight between these two. Like, yeah, we saw what Copperhead is very well known for, which is sending full body spinners flying like a helicopter. We saw him do that to Gigabyte 3 times in this fight, if I remember right. 3 devastating shots. But then it looked like
Yeah,
Copperhead was having drive problems once again, and yeah, Gigabyte managed to land a few shots. Copperhead eventually lost drive on one side and eventually lost drive on both sides. So Copperhead eventually got counted out, and Gigabyte was awarded the victory by a knockout and their revenge on Copperhead. So, thoughts on this fight from
yeah.
you, civilian?
Yeah, this was a pretty great fight. I think this was probably better than their first fight, honestly.
Oh yeah, I would completely agree with that. But then that's my opinion.
Like, but yeah, there were a lot of big exchanges and like a lot of the shots were like insane. And like, if I'm being honest, while I did predict Copperhead to win, I am glad Gigabyte won because this was like a very destructive fight for them. So
Yeah, without a doubt. And And yeah, was a great win by Gigabyte. Another obnoxious celebration from Matt Maxham. Not that there's a problem with that at all, as it's
I wouldn't call it obnoxious. I'd
yeah,
call it like it's loud.
yeah, I'd call it that. Pori's online. Maybe we should get him to come join us.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on. Yeah, we should get Pori to do that.
Yeah. uh, but yeah, another epic victory from Gigabyte. Gigabyte pulled off the victory and moved on to the finals, where they're gonna take on the winner of where they're gonna take on Son of Whyachi, the legend of this bounty. And and yeah, I see there are messages in the group chat. What do you say, or what did Pori say?
I told Pori he ditched us when we were gonna talk about Big Deal, and then he said, "Sir."
I think you put him in a pickle now.
I did. I definitely did.
Well done to you. Now you gotta relish this moment.
No regrets.
We'll see what kind of dill he makes out of this one.
Yeah.
Jeez,
You
I
ever
think I
won
owe like $10 in the cliche jar now.
you ever wonder if Pori talks about us to his friends?
He probably does, honestly. Who knows if they're bad or good? It could be either one, since the two of us are kind of like the two more immature people of the bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, should we get to Gigabyte and Son of Whyachi?
Yeah.
Last fight of the podcast. And the last fight of the Battlebots 2020 podcasts. We got Gigabyte and Son of Whyachi here. So, Son of Whyachi got their Son of Whyachi, rather than being driven by crap oh my gosh, I don't even remember the
Luke.
yeah, rather than being driven by Luke Ewert, it was driven by Jake Ewert here. Don't ask why I couldn't remember that, as yeah, I'm tired still,
Why
and
couldn't you remember it, Green?
because I'm tired and stuff.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, and when my and when I'm tired, my brain doesn't work as properly.
That's real
It functions differently.
that's relatable.
Yep. But yeah, I'm sure I yes, I run the BattleBots fan page and the Green Square, as you would probably know, as it's the same thing as my YouTube user, and I've done a lot of fantasy tournaments on my Instagram. One very popular thing on there, or one very popular request I would get would be a full body spinner battle. That's something I'd say a lot of people have been wanting to see, along with the Tombstone and Son of Whyachi fight. Right, and yeah, we got a full body spinner battle here. Gigabyte and Sao. Oh no, we started off seeing
Yeah.
a bunch of big shots right off the bat. One that sent both bots back and sent Gigabyte's Stealth Rider packing. But then following that, Gigabyte used their advantage against full body spinners with that cone design for their spinner and flipped over Son of Whyachi. And then, of course, first they ended up. Of course, Gigabyte just continued to go absurd on Son of Whyachi. Just landed shot after shot. Following that, while Son of Whyachi was flipped over, Jake Ewert requested that, At Matt Maxim requested that too, and it was fun to watch and stuff. And big congrats
Well,
to Gigabyte for winning this bounty and claiming the remainder of the $25,000 grand prize.
well, this was like the last fight that would be aired. So like
Yes.
I think it is a that was a good idea for them. Like go out this season with a bang.
Yeah, and they definitely went out with a bang here in this one because this was another fun fight to watch. Gotta respond to that by spinning this thing again.
Come on, man.
Why not? I gotta, because Gigabyte won this bounty.
Oh, just trust me on this.
No, trust me on
But
this.
also, it's time to address the elephant in the room. They did spoil this fight,
Yes,
so
they did spoil this fight. I'm not sure, I'm not sure when we predicted in the fights for this one how well we hit it, but yeah, they did spoil Gigabyte and Son of Whyachi, even Gigabyte and Grabot too. Ooh, and I believe Gigabyte and
well, like
Copperhead as well. Though,
yeah,
like,
they did.
yeah, they
They
spoiled
spoiled
all
a
of
lot
those
of those
fights, including the
outcomes.
outcome of this battle in the intro, to the Battlebots season.
Yeah,
And yeah, so yeah, hopefully we did a good job hiding it when we did predictions for this,
yeah.
as we did predictions for it without while trying not to use intel that we had already seen. So
I think we did like a relatively good job, even though we still predicted Gigabyte to win.
yeah, I think so too. 'Cause yeah, even if I didn't see that stuff, I would have picked Gigabyte to win anyway. Because yeah, because of how well Gigabyte performed, like in the top 32 against Malice and Hydra and
Yeah.
stuff.
And like, I don't think it's a big problem that they spoiled like Sow and Copperhead because that was definitely gonna be like one of those two getting in. But like, it's kind of upsetting they spoiled Gigabyte and Sow.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna make too much of a big deal out of it. I should have said big deal out of it.
Wow. Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, why didn't I? Come on, me.
Just trust me on this.
Listen, man. You know I'm right.
Yeah, okay.
You know I'm right about that one thing.
What one thing?
That one thing.
Okay. Sure.
Alright, for Pori.
Hi, Pori.
Hi, Pori, as well. Yeah. Alright, before we close this podcast, anything else about Big Dill?
Nah.
What?
I think
Come on,
nah.
man.
You come on. You're the one who hasn't gotten on the big deal train yet. Like, come on, man.
What are all the cliches?
You still haven't been a part of the big deal gang long enough.
How do you
Like
know?
me and Pori are like big deal OGs.
Wow.
It's true.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
But either way, anything else on this bounty or the witch doctor bounty?
I called it for the witch doctor bounty.
I called it for all but one fight of this bounty.
I mean, no one called that fight though.
I wouldn't say no one,
Like,
but
like
uh,
unless they were calling it for the memes. Like, I don't think anyone deliberately actually picked Rusty to beat Kraken.
Who knows? But yeah, thank you for watching this bounty. I hope you enjoyed all the Battlebots 2020 reviewing we've done. We'll hopefully do this once again for the 2021 season, but podcast will not be over as we plan to, as we have a few other podcasts planned that we will plan on doing. And yeah, I will hopefully see you for the next podcast.
Subscribe to Civilian Arc.
Subscribe to Green Square.